If you ever catch yourself talking out loud when you're alone, psychology says there's something about you that most people misunderstand completely. You're not weird, you're not unstable, and you're definitely not doing it without a reason. Speaking to yourself isn't a mistake your brain makes. It's a method your mind uses. Most people assume thinking happens quietly, but for some minds, silence isn't enough. You don't just think, you explain, you narrate, you argue, you coach yourself through moments. Sometimes you give yourself instructions. Sometimes you challenge your own reactions. And sometimes the thoughts feel so alive that keeping them inside feels impossible. At some point, you probably wondered, is this normal? Psychology's answer is clear. Not only is it normal, it's revealing. For many people, thoughts exist as loose emotions or unfinished impressions. Their inner world is foggy, reactive, and unstructured. Yours isn't. Your mind wants clarity. It wants ideas to have order, direction, and meaning. When internal silence can't hold that complexity, your voice becomes the outlet. This is the first thing people misunderstand about self-talk. You're not speaking because you're confused. You're speaking because you're organizing. Have you noticed how things suddenly make sense once you say them out loud? How a problem feels smaller when you explain it, even if no one is listening? That's because your brain isn't just thinking, it's processing on multiple levels. Research shows that verbalizing thoughts activates systems linked to logic, structure, and self-monitoring. In simple terms, when you speak, your mind turns mental noise into usable information. You don't talk to yourself because you lack control. You talk to yourself because your brain refuses to stay disordered. This is also why silence can feel uncomfortable for you. Not because you're anxious, but because your mind is active. It's always sorting, refining, adjusting. Empty mental space doesn't feel restful. It feels unfinished. Pause for a moment and be honest. Have you ever felt calmer or clearer after saying something out loud, even when no one replied? That wasn't random. That was your cognitive system working exactly as it should. If this feels uncomfortably accurate, you're not alone. Now, let's go deeper. People who talk to themselves often have a highly developed internal dialogue. Your thoughts don't just pass by. They interact. They debate. They test ideas from different angles. When you speak to yourself, you're not imagining conversations. You're externalizing reasoning. You'd rather hear an idea clearly than let it float vaguely in your head. Saying it out loud gives it shape. It creates distance. And distance creates insight. While many people let thoughts go unchecked, you question yours. Does this actually make sense? What am I missing? Is this really true? That habit alone sets you apart. This is also why you might explain tasks out loud or narrate steps as you work. Your brain dislikes ambiguity. It prefers precision. Language becomes your blueprint. You're not struggling to think. You're thinking so deeply that silence can't contain it. But structure isn't the whole story. Have you noticed how self-talk becomes automatic when you're searching for something, solving a problem, or trying to stay focused? You might repeat a word. You might narrate your actions. You might whisper instructions to yourself. To others, it looks strange. Psychologically, it's one of the most efficient focus tools the human brain has. This reveals the second trait behind self-talk. Your brain uses language to direct attention. When you say something out loud, you're not just expressing a thought, you're guiding perception. Verbal cues tell your brain what matters. When you say keys or phone, your mind immediately filters the environment differently. Irrelevant details fade. Relevant patterns stand out. Your voice becomes a search command. Most people rely on passive attention. They scan and hope something catches their eye. You don't wait for chance. You instruct your focus. You're not talking to yourself because you're distracted. You're talking to yourself because you're optimizing. That's why under pressure, you often seem more composed than expected. When others panic, you narrow your attention. When others freeze, you give yourself instructions. Your voice anchors you. And this extends far beyond focus. Many people who talk to themselves use language to regulate emotion. You might catch yourself saying things like, slow down, it's okay, or think this through. Instead of being swallowed by emotion, you step back and guide yourself like another person. That shift creates control. When stress hits, Many people drown in it. You don't. You talk yourself through it. You analyze instead of collapsing. You don't always need external reassurance. You generate it internally. Speaking thoughts out loud also strengthens memory. When you verbalize something, your brain treats it as important. You're not just thinking, you're saving information. That's why you repeat instructions or plans aloud. You secure what matters. At this point, the picture is clear. Talking to yourself isn't a habit, it's a system. A system built to handle complexity. Many people don't need self-talk because their thoughts are simple and reactive. Yours aren't. You simulate outcomes. You question assumptions. Silence creates pressure, so your voice releases it. Intelligence isn't always quiet. Some minds think best through articulation. You don't speak because you understand. You speak to understand. That shows flexibility. You allow ideas to evolve. You correct yourself. This is also why solitude feels comfortable. Alone, your mind can work freely. Talking to yourself isn't loneliness, it's clarity. People who talk to themselves often trust their inner voice. You consult yourself first. You reason. You don't outsource thinking. That's autonomy. When things go wrong, many shut down. You start talking. You guide yourself step by step. Even your self-criticism shows care. And here's the truth that changes everything. Self-talk isn't instability. It's presence. It's engagement. It's facing thoughts instead of avoiding them. In a noisy world, you have an internal system for reflection. So the next time you catch yourself speaking out loud, don't stop in embarrassment. Understand what it means. Your mind is active. You think deeply enough to need your own voice. You were never meant to keep everything silent. You're not strange. You're not unstable. You're simply someone whose mind is active enough to speak and aware enough to listen.